This episode of the ZuLoo Podcast is sponsored by ZuLoo Inc., a benefit corporation dedicated to the goal of universal access to toilets, hygiene, clean water and sanitation through the power of social enterprise. Learn more at ZuLoo.com.
I need to go to the bathroom. Is it appropriate for me to ask to use one of their pit latrines? And everyone panicked. Mm-hmm. And I thought I had broken some cultural taboo. And so I started to apologize through a translator to say, I'm sorry, you don't have to let me use your toilet. They said, no. And then they talked among themselves. And I thought, what is going on? Meanwhile, I really had to go to the bathroom. And so finally one of the women...
They're discussing, should we kill her now?
Exactly. It's like she has broken...
Welcome to the ZuLoo Podcast, where we talk all things poop, toilets and sanitation. Through insightful news, impact stories and quirky humour, we aim to discuss and highlight the critical role toilets play in whisking poop out of our lives, the impact toilets have, or lack thereof, in the health and wellness of humanity, and what ZuLoo is doing to help solve the current global sanitation crisis.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the ZuLoo Podcast. We are so delighted to have you joining in on another week. And Darren and I are extra delighted because we have Kathy Headlee, founder of Mothers Without Borders, in studio with us. Kathy, welcome.
Thank you. I'm really happy to be here.
Yeah, I mean, we've just been chatting about the string of connections that we've all had. And it's such a fun web of how we get to know people. I don't know. It's just so interesting. So it's sort of fun to see this all of our connections coming together for an episode of the ZuLoo Podcast. We're going to see where this amazing conversation takes us.
So you knew her how long ago was it? Like 10 years ago?
I met you 10 years ago. Probably only once or twice, like very briefly in passing.
I think we met you more than that.
I think I had more interactions with Philip than I probably did with you.
But it's just nice to know that the best people in your life keep circling back through. So it's lovely to meet you again.
Yes. I know, 10 years older, 10 years wiser.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, so we're stoked to learn more about Mothers Without Borders. Mothers Without Borders.
Without Borders.
Without Borders. Yes. Because
we got plenty of borders.
We got plenty of borders. Yeah. We need more without borders.
Yeah.
But before we jump into that conversation, we'll have Darren tell us what's been going on in the Poo-News.
That's right. Most people tune in just for the Poo-News, but some people,
stay for the meteor part, which is
the better part is
the discussion. The better part is the discussion,
right? So anyway, just really quickly, some Poo-News that's going on. There's another debate raging online, Twitter, all that is. It's your classic over or under debate, right? And let's see, do you have a preference over or under when you're installing your toilet paper, whether you put it rolling over or rolling under? Is there a preference that you have? Or
there is. Yeah.
Is there a right way?
And there's a
way?
reason. I don't like to say to people, you're doing it wrong. Okay. I will say that for me, because I have 4 granddaughters that live in my house with me and they use an extraordinary amount of toilet paper.
Yeah.
I do the under because they can't pull as much off the roll.
That's true.
And one pull. So it's actually a way to decrease the amount of toilet paper I have to buy. So it's just...
That makes sense. Yeah, there's a reason behind it. It's not just aesthetics, right? And I've seen your house. You've got I think because of your baby toddler running around, probably you're an under roller, right?
It's literally just whatever happens that day.
Oh, really?
I don't think I have a preference. It's just you sort of slap that thing on and go.
Sometimes it's over, under, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, so it's just
sometimes my husband just sets it on top of the spool and I go 5 seconds. Good, just take it 5 seconds.
That's another alternative, right? It's instead of over under, just set
That's how you really conserve toilet paper because nobody can get to it. There's no easy pulling off the spool. That's my tip to you, Kathy.
Yeah.
As a toilet paper expert, just don't even put it on the spool.
Well, then I find there's 3 rolls of toilet paper on the floor, 2/3 unrolled, and then in a large. Yeah, it's.
Or they'll start a new roll, and the other rolls are sitting around. Yeah, I've done that.
And I've always felt really important that I was the only one in the house that knew how to put it on the roll. as demonstrated by the fact that no one else puts it on the dispenser. So I've always felt like I am needed.
Well, you are.
Some of them can be tricky, Some of them got the little spring in there, and how do you get that on there?
Yeah. What about you, Darren? Are you over or under?
I'm really an over type person, just because that's the way my mom did it. I thought, that's the way you're supposed to do it, right? But I think in Puerto Rico, my place in Puerto Rico, we stack it on the back of the toilet, sometimes, and it. I was on
a little finger spool.
Yeah, I was on a flight last night flying in, and they had, as not an over under, but they had the toilet paper was going this way.
What?
And it was like, so you're, say I'm sitting down.
Yeah.
Instead of like this, it was like this.
Okay. Oh.
And you pulled it this way.
Like a toilet paper or paper towel roll.
Yeah. So like that, it's spun that way. So I thought that was kind of new. I don't know if that's a saving space. Anyway,
Innovation.
they say that toilet, if I think on one of our last episodes, they were saying that new airplanes that are being built, if you feel like it's being, if bathrooms on a plane feel smaller, it's because they are. There's like at least 2 or 3 inches smaller than, they're trying to squeeze that extra seat in there,
Yeah.
So they are smaller.
They definitely felt smaller on this last flight.
Yeah.
And I'm a small person. So.
Yeah, if you're feeling small, man.
I know.
They don't have double wides in the toilet. But,
I know. That's a conversation for another time.
So that's.
So, but how does this relate to Poo-News? It's just a debate.
Yeah,
online.
just so if you see everybody's so angry online, well, this is why, because nobody can come to a consensus, right? And I would just say, hey, man, whatever feels good for you, the toilet paper.
You do.
I don't think there's a right or wrong way.
Yeah.
Another article. This is out of where is this out of? This is out of Colorado. This is a resident is fighting to keep his controversial lawn decoration in place, and I'll have to send Trevor a article, but he's got a toilet on his front lawn.
Oh man!
And I guess it's a kissing booth. And he's pretty proud of it. You can tell. Look how proud he is.
He is real proud.
Yeah. And I guess the HOA and the city and his neighbors are all fighting. They're like you'd expect, right? Did you really think he was going to get away with this, right? But,
So how?
I mean, this is something I would do. I mean, I had in high school, I was leaving high school and I guess they were replacing the toilets at the school. And and they had a couple of toilets just kind of laying, waiting for the trash people to come pick it up. And I'm like, hey, this is cool. So I put it in the back of my car, drove it home, brought it, and I said, so I brought it upstairs and put a plant in it.
In the bowl.
In the bowl. And my mom was like, no, this is not happening. I thought it was like a creative statement. I think this is where the toilet thing came for me, like really early. But I thought it was art, and I thought I wanted to plant in I just don't want any kind of potted plant, but I found this cool potted plant idea. But yeah, it didn't last, I think maybe 24 hours. And
maybe you should bring that back to life just in a smaller version, get a little desk planter or something.
No, I mean, these are acceptable, right?
Fulfill that. I know, but you need a little ceramic one you can pot a little succulent in or something.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, fulfill your teenage dreams.
I think I'll look for one.
Yeah.
Yeah, good idea.
Hey, your birthday's coming up. Maybe don't look for one. I'll look for one.
Oh, right. Excited.
Okay. Well, so here's my question with the kissing booth.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah.
Which way do you use this? Is someone standing at the back of the toilet and you're kissing through the pink toilet seat? Or are you sitting on each other's laps? How's this working for you?
Yeah,
what's your inclination? Which do you do?
Yeah. So he wanted to, he did it around Halloween time. So a lot of people thought that, okay, then this is maybe a Halloween prank thing.
A little
but
gag,
but then he left it there, and that's when the neighbors sort of like, nope. And, he had on Halloween, he had a gleaming golden skeleton sitting on it. And then, he later put,
did he deck it out for Valentine's Day?
He later put like Christmas lights on it. And I'm like, I like this guy. I mean, this is again, something I would do. My wife would probably say no. But anyway, and Valentine's Day. Oh, this is what became the. So he left it there until Valentine's Day, and then he put a little sign, "Hey, this is a kissing booth," right? So I think he was trying to incorporate.
Oh, so it just started as a toilet, and then
he started out. He put it out there on Halloween, put a golden skeleton on it, and then it just stayed there. So he thought, oh, there's always a holiday coming up, right? I'm sure he's going to put shamrocks, St. Patrick's Day.
And maybe fill the bowl with ale or something.
Yeah. 4th of July is coming up. Going to do fireworks out of it.
He's going to create a toilet keg for the neighbors. Yeah. That's how he's going to appease everybody, really.
Yeah. So anyway, I guess, so here's a picture of the, the golden, looks like C-3PO, the golden.
Oh, that's cute.
Golden skeleton on the toilet. I mean, he's all American. He's got an American flag there. And so why is it, his neighbors are like apparently suing him for...
They're suing him.
Well, the HOA is giving him fines and violations. And so he's just, I think he's going to lose probably as a lawyer. I would probably tell him,
just cut it
put it out for the holiday, take it out, But anyway, that's going on in America.
Wow.
So that's your Poo-News.
Real problems we face here, everybody.
Have you ever had a toilet decoration that went awry or any? No?
No, I've never had a toilet decoration.
Okay.
No.
All right.
Well, you might just get one this
but
year.
I got some good ideas.
Yeah.
I acknowledge that if you go by my house in the coming months and you see a toilet, you're going to say, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I know where she got that idea.
Yeah. If you do, is put a ZuLoo sticker on there.
I'll put a ZuLoo sticker and give you some credit.
Yeah. Tag us on Instagram.
There we go.
Something like that. It could go crazy viral, I would think.
Yeah, I would think it would too.
I mean, the golden, I think I'm going to do that. Golden
skeleton
with the toilet.
Yeah.
Right?
Wow.
Think so?
I look forward to it. Okay. Yeah. Stamp of approval.
Okay.
Not mine.
Yeah.
We're all just eyeing Shannon out there watching us.
Yeah,
She's shaking her head.
My wife's in the studio
she's like, nope.
I'm going to kill you.
Not happening.
She's taking her ring off. No. Anyway, yeah.
On to other things. I'm really excited, Kathy, to be able to speak with you today. I would love it if you'd tell our listeners just a little bit about who you are and a little bit about Mothers Without Borders.
Thank you. Yeah, Mothers Without Borders. We are a charity organization that I started, I think, around 1989. It was a long time ago. So
I remember 1989.
Do you? I remember it.
The Berlin Wall came down.
You were not yet born.
I was not yet here. Yeah.
The world was awaiting
I was watching.
She was in heaven going, hurry up, people. I'm excited.
Yeah. So I kind of started it in response to the global orphan crisis that was becoming more and more apparent to any of us who had access to TV or internet or anything like that. And so that was kind of the initial step forward, was just how do we help communities care for large numbers of orphans.
So you had this idea, like you saw this happening in the news and thought.
Yeah, I thought maybe there's something that I can do. I'd worked previously I'd been working with a health development organization, actually in the area of water and sanitation, which sanitation is the nice way we say toilets.
Yeah. Exactly.
In the world of development, we don't say toilets, we say sanitation.
Yeah.
That's right.
And that's like making sure the communities have a way to dispose of human waste. Because on the serious side of things, like it's one of the number one causes of really life-threatening diseases around the world.
Yeah.
And I've been present in a lot of communities where there was a cholera epidemic. And I remember really heartbreaking things. Like I've seen things where, thousands of people in a community die in a rainy season because they don't have a proper way to dispose of the waste in their community. And that to me is just unacceptable.
Absolutely.
Like, no, not now. Like this shouldn't be happening.
It's one of the leading causes of infant mortality.
It is.
Like 1 in 5, I think in some countries they lose because of cholera and dysentery. Yeah. Yeah.
And just even this, I was just in Africa a few weeks ago, and it's the rainy season right now. And Zambia, where our regional headquarters is now located, we were doing pretty well. They weren't having a serious cholera problem, but Malawi, which is a country just next door, thousands of people were dying, and they didn't even have a way. They were like looking for places where they could store the bodies until they could prepare them. And it was just really tragic looking at these communities and realizing that it's something as simple as just no access to a proper way to dispose of sewage.
Right.
So,
Which is not, I just going to get on my soapbox here a little bit, which is not that difficult of a solution, but sometimes it really, we talk to so many people and across the globe, right? And the key is just education. So many of these communities just lack educational resources for how do you manage that.
Yeah, and a lot of it's resources. Since COVID, a lot of these countries have just their backs were broken economically.
Yeah.
So now it's just a matter of people like you who care, who say, no, we're going to bring this to the light. We're going to, because, if you live in the West, it's just not in your everyday awareness. It even surprised me flying back there and going, oh, yeah, it's rainy season. This is a problem. Yeah. So, it's a good thing what you're doing and just making people aware and saying you can help make a difference. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's obviously what our mission is to bring, there's so many solutions, different technologies, different, and we're not talking high tech, Bill Gates type stuff, right? Where you've got a solar panel and all this tech. But, really low tech is what we found.
And that's what we do. Very low tech, most effective, what people can, and things that people are familiar with so that they don't get frightened. I think you said, if I have a poo story, I can tell it.
Yes.
Oh, we would love to hear it. Please do.
I learned something very important early on in my trajectory with this. So this was probably back in about 1986. And I was in a very high rural area in the high Andes in Bolivia. And we went in and we were visiting the place. We were actually looking at putting in a medical facility. And we'd been driving in the car for a long time. It was a very high altitude. I think we were in the car for about 4 hours to get there. I had to go to the bathroom as soon as we got there. And they had a little ceremony they wanted to do with us. And so I waited till the ceremony was through. And then I saw, they told us that somebody had come in and put in all these beautiful, a little bit more high-tech latrines in this very rural area, underdeveloped area. So I said to my host that was taking me around, I said, I need to go to the bathroom. Is it appropriate for me to ask to use one of their pit latrines? And everyone panicked. And I thought I had broken some cultural taboo. And so I started to apologize through a translator to say, I'm sorry, you don't have to let me use your toilet. They said, no. And then they talked among themselves. And I thought, what is going on? Meanwhile, I really had to go to the bathroom. And so finally, one of the women...
They're discussing, should we kill her now?
Exactly. It's like she has broken the taboo.
Yes.
So they finally, this one woman just kind of marched up and took me by the arm and walked me over to hers and unlocked it and kind of pushed me inside and closed the door. Well, the whole pit latrine was filled with sweet potatoes.
Oh,
like 4 feet high. The entire floor was covered. And I was like, now I really don't know what to do. And so I went back out and I said, what's going on? And then he told me this. He said, in their culture, they think it's really foolish that you would put your waste in one place because that's where the evil spirits are.
Oh, interesting.
But they built them these beautiful little structures at every single home. And so they use it to store sweet potatoes. Yeah. So I just did what they did. I went out in the bush and I went to the bathroom. The end.
So they were just so nervous because of this idea that
it wasn't culturally appropriate. They said, why would you put all your waste in one place? So the lesson learned was low tech. Use what the people need. Go to the people and say, what do you need? And then put in what they want. And it's usually real simple, real low tech.
Yeah, we had Lonnie Ward of Choice Humanitarian. You may know him. What did he call it? Monuments of...
here's the real test of
monuments of philanthropic ignorance.
Yes.
MPIs is what he called it, where they would come in like 30,000 foot, boom, put in these really nice toilets and the way we think it should be. And then they wound up not, they're used for firewood or storage or something else. And it's just a different mentality. It's like, why wouldn't you recycle it back into the environment, No, you're keeping it in one space so it can just, create disease and all that, right? That's these vault toilets,
right,
tend to do that, right? And
Yeah. So that was before I started Mothers Without Borders. I was actually working with another agency. And so when I started Mothers Without Borders, our very first value of the organization was we value local wisdom.
Yes.
And so we always work with local individuals. And, when I started the organization, I started in Eastern Europe and Mexico and Central America and South America. And in about 1999, settled in Africa. And that became our regional headquarters there. In Zambia.
Okay.
And since then, we've gone and done some projects in Zambia or Zimbabwe and Congo and Uganda and Kenya and a few other countries. But most of our work is headquartered there in Zambia.
So tell us what it is that you do. Is it education-based? Are you establishing orphanages, school? I think you spoke about a school earlier. Walk me through what Mothers Without Borders does.
Yeah, so we look at the problems that are facing communities that have large orphan populations. And then we go into those communities and look at what measures need to be put into place to help them take care of the kids in their community.
I see.
So it's going to include education. It's going to include food. It's going to include safe housing. It's going to include rescuing children out of trafficking situations. It's going to include empowering women. So it's very holistic. We really,
there's no one thing that you do. It's totally community-based.
It's community-based. What do the children in your community need to thrive?
Wow.
And that's kind of the messaging behind Mothers Without Borders. What does a mother do for her child? Whatever that child needs.
Yes.
And so, so that's a lot of what we do. And we do have a school. We have our own community school that we run in Zambia. We have about 800 students.
Incredible.
That can come there for free.
Wow.
I think we have 20-some teachers. And then we do have orphan care centers they're really rescue centers for kids who are usually pulled out of trafficking situations. And then they need to have a safe place to grow up.
Absolutely. Wow. And I'm just thinking about all that includes. And I'm wondering for you, Kathy, what has been the thing running Mothers Without Borders that's been most surprising throughout your time? Something that you've seen, wow, that's just never would have thought of that. Or we're tackling this issue and it's something that is totally new and foreign. I don't know. I'm just putting total words in your mouth, but I'd love to know.
Well, I think the thing that's been the most surprising throughout the decades, because we've been in a lot of different countries. I've been in a lot of different situations.
Yeah.
I went to Banda Aceh after the tsunami in 2004, to Haiti after the earthquake. So lots of different situations over the last 35 or 36 years of my life. And I think the thing that surprises me the most is the goodness in people's hearts, the kindness, the generosity, the compassion. It's everywhere. In every community I've ever worked, there are wonderful people there who want to solve the problems in their communities, and they just need resources, help. They need encouragement. There's a lot of different things. And then so many good people all over the world, people who have never been in that situation, who are willing to donate and give resources, give time, give their hearts. People are good. And I know a lot of times the news that we see doesn't feel like it reflects that, but we kind of created this whole theme around Mothers Without Borders. I created a number of years ago, which is love works. And I believe that love works in the world, and it's the only thing that does. So that's what surprised me after all is said and done.
Amen. Amen.
So are you, when you're in country like Zambia, different countries, are you mainly do you try to work with local mothers? Is that sort of the dynamic that you're trying to?
Yeah, we work with local mothers, local community leaders.
Okay.
And they usually are women.
Okay.
Women are the agents for social change.
Yeah.
And so usually it's groups of women that we work with and say, what do you need? How can we support you? How can we work together?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we found that in India as well. It seemed that the women in these villages where we build toilets, they seem to be the driver behind it. And then
because women know what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, as far as
really
like the care of the children, obviously, and obviously the need for toilets for menstruating young women and things of that nature, right? It seems to be, the driving force. And then we were always pleasantly surprised how supportive the men were, as far as like, oh yeah, well, okay, this is what's going on. Okay, we're going to dig the holes. We're going to build these things, right? They were doing their part, right? But yeah, the impetus behind it were, the women that were saying, hey, this is important. We need this, right? So.
Yeah, I think globally it's true. Women are agents for social change, and men are also very supportive in the work that we do. We have over 100 employees, and it's pretty evenly with men and women, and the men that work for us are wonderful. They're very supportive and helpful.
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome. So what countries are you? So Zambia, you're focused on. Mm-hmm. You mentioned a number of other countries. Do you guys usually, go in to do a project, and then are you operating in all these different places like Haiti or?
No, usually it's very project and we act kind of as consultants.
Okay.
And so it's kind of oriented towards a particular project. We go in where we're invited. Mm-hmm. We go in where a local agency, right. non-governmental agency has said, hey, we could use help or some resources or some training. And then it's usually an in and out. Like we go in, we help them figure out what are your goals? What do you want? What are you trying to accomplish here? Mm. Usually people are either trying to increase the number of people they can offer services to or improve the quality of their services. Yeah. And then we just help them meet their goal. And then we hug and say goodbye and they keep going.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Go ahead. You had a question?
I do have a question. Well, I just wanted to bring the conversation back to sanitation a little bit. I'm curious how often that problem is presented to your team as a priority. Hey, we don't have access.
Always. It's always a priority.
That's amazing.
I would say like in our school where we have over 800 kids and students who come there for free. We do a free feeding program for them. It's the only meal most of those kids get in a day. And that includes teachers, over 800. They only have 7 working toilets, even at our school. That's a ratio of like
have 1. More toilets than that. That's insane.
And there's no toilets in any of their homes. And so like right now, it's a top priority for us. As soon as the rainy season ends, which is going to be in the next like 3 weeks, we need to put in another 12 toilets. And then it's like a 35-to-1 ratio. So think about the lines.
Seriously.
But right now the lines are, it's ridiculous. And when we go to other community schools, they might have 2 toilets for 400 kids. Homes, they might have 1 toilet that 6 families are sharing, 60 people. And you look at like women having babies, they're having babies in their home and then trying to get cleaned up and there's no access to a toilet. It's just, the next time I don't ever sit down on a toilet anywhere in the world that I don't say thank you.
Yeah.
But that's after 35 years of going around the world and seeing how other people are. So it's always a priority. Always.
Yeah. Well, that just makes me so happy to hear because we do have the opportunity to speak to so many other wonderful people involved in sanitation around the world. And sometimes, not very often, but sometimes we hear, it's just sometimes not a priority or something that communities really think about because as we were talking about earlier, they just manage it a certain way. And so it takes sort of somebody coming in and saying, hey, listen, no, this is causing disease. This is why your child is ill for months on end. And so here's how we prevent that. So it just makes me so happy to hear that, no, that's a problem that the communities are aware of and bringing to attention.
Well, and I think it's because we also ask. So every time I go into any community, the first thing I ask is, where is your water? Who has toilets? How many do you have? Where are they? How easily accessible are they? How many people are on that toilet? I ask it everywhere we go. My whole staff asks that everywhere we go. The first 2 questions we ask, how do you get water? Where is your toilet? Because it's such a cause of disease and you can save so many lives by just making sure you have access to clean water and good sanitation.
Yeah, it has twice.
Preaching to the choir.
Yeah, well,
yes.
We've said it. I mean, it's statistically shown that it has twice the health impact of clean water.
Yeah.
But clean water typically gets 8 times the funding.
Yeah.
Because it's, more sexy to talk about
clean water. It's easier to talk about
than toilets, right? So We're glad you talk about toilets.
Thank you. I love talking about toilets. I was called here comes the toilet lady for a long time, which, maybe was not a badge of honor, but it felt like it was for me. Yeah. I said, yes, I am the toilet lady. We are going to talk about toilets today.
Yes.
No, that's awesome.
And, it gets people thinking about, because people are embarrassed to talk about it too.
Yeah.
And they're embarrassed to talk about how hard it is to not have a toilet. So by me bringing it up and saying, this is awful.
Yeah.
You don't have a toilet. This isn't okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then they get wound up and go, it's not okay.
Yeah.
So
what kind of systems are typical in, like, say, Zambia or, some of these areas where are they composting toilets, or are they
No, it's mostly just pit.
Just pit latrine type situation.
Yep. Your basic pit latrine, which isn't great, but we have the government of Zambia puts in a lot of really good guidelines. It says you have to be this far from your water source, and so
right.
It's better than nothing.
Sure, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll take a pit latrine over nothing. Well, it depends, right?
Yeah.
I've been in some state parks where I'm not going in that pit latrine. I'd rather go find a tree somewhere. But yeah. I mean, as far as keeping it out from where everybody's running around, and that's the issue, right? You've got little kids that run through it, bring it inside,
and then all kinds of diseases.
Yeah.
So no, I didn't know that it was 2-to-1. It did more to alleviate health
Isn't that
problems.
Incredible?
But I believe it because I've seen it firsthand.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, we got to get a little toilet on top of your love. Yeah. Your love works. Thing. We'll just put a little toilet right on top of the globe.
We want to give you this just for coming.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You got to have one of these too.
Thank you.
They kind of go together. Right?
Well, the grandkids will take this. I won't have this for very long.
Yeah,
but thank you.
They seem to love those for some reason. Yeah.
Yes.
Something about being happy, being on the potty. Yeah,
exactly.
It's great.
There's a reason why the poo emoji smiles. Right?
Yeah.
So what's the biggest challenge you see when you're going into some of these communities? I mean, is it government? Is it culture? What's the biggest challenge here?
I think the biggest challenge is just sensitizing communities to realize that they can band together and that together we are stronger than we are alone, and that there are people in the world who care. So, one of the big problems we deal with is kids who are abused. And so we're really making inroads there because as we go in and sensitize communities with things like water and sanitation and food security, then they're more open and trusting of us to say, hey, this is happening over here. This is happening over here.
Right.
And then we're able to rescue kids out of these really difficult situations and put them someplace safe and give them an opportunity to have their dreams come true.
Which was kind of the impetus behind your organization in the first place, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's to let children be children, make sure their needs are taken care of, and really just let people make their dreams come true. We want to bring joy into the world and have people have an opportunity to say, I have a dream, and say we can help make that possible. And so we're able to do that for thousands of people every year. And I've watched a lot of these kids grow up because I've been in Zambia for 23 years. So a lot of the kids that I remember bringing out of these really difficult situations when they were 4 or 5 or 6, they're now grown up and they have careers and they have families. And,
wow! So you're able to see that whole journey.
I'm able to
awesome.
see the whole cycle. Yeah.
Wow, that's
so
awesome.
you say I have however many hundreds or thousands of children. You don't say I just have the 5 back at home.
Yeah, I have a lot of children that have touched my life, and a lot of amazing community people who band together to make kids' lives better against all odds. These families do not have money, and so for them to give what they have to make these kids' lives better is just really inspiring to see. So, it's been a journey.
Oh, that is inspiring. That's awesome. Yeah, the way you describe how you work, that's the same way ZuLoo works. We're not in there, dropping toilets out of planes. We're working with local NGOs in different places, and because they know best, and they work with the local community and get that community buy-in, and that's that circle of trust that you build, and
they take responsibility, for the upkeep and for doing the things, so that then you have longevity in an area, and your investment really makes an impact for a long time to come.
Yeah.
And And they're proud of it. They're proud to have that.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny that you would think, how could a community be so proud of having a row of pill latrines? But they are.
Yeah.
Because they know it elevates their community and their ability to accomplish things. So.
Yeah. That's super great. Awesome.
How often, this is probably our last question. I think we're just about out of time, but I'm just, and hearing you say that you've gotten to see some of these kids grow up. Mm-hmm. How often are these kids coming back and doing work with Mothers Without Borders? Are they in the organization still? Are they out there advocating and being ambassadors for Mothers Without Borders? What's their future?
So they definitely are still connected to us, especially to our local staff. They're very close with the local staff. They call the local staff their aunties and uncles, their grandparents. When I'm in the country, they usually, a lot of them find a way to come and see me and reconnect and bring their kids to see me. And it's really wonderful. And they had different career ideas. Some of them wanted to be nurses. Some of them have gone into farming. Some of them are driving vehicles, or whatever they want to do, lawyers, teachers. Yeah. So we do get to see them. And some of them work on our property. Mm-hmm. And they all advocate really in a way of like encouraging kids in the communities where they're currently living as adults to say, hey, you can beat the odds. Mm-hmm. You can have your dreams. And so it does recycle itself in that way.
Love that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Oh, Kathy, I'm on cloud 9. I'm so glad you came in.
Thank you.
It's been such a wonderful opportunity to speak to you and get to know a little bit more about Mothers Without Borders and the good that you do.
Thank you so much.
We're definitely, our audience is interested, and we'll share your details and our show notes. And
great.
Yeah, be great. And if you're interested in partnering on some toilet projects, we're always game.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
We just we were in Nigeria at the World Toilet Summit back in November, and there's a ton of work to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I would love that. I'd love to see you guys come and put in some toilets in Zambia.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Yeah, we're all.
We need to pull out our maps. Where's Zambia again?
It's just below the Congo, just above Zimbabwe.
Oh, just there you go. Yeah, we were talking about Zimbabwe last week. So
yeah, we sure were.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, Kathy, thanks again.
Thank you.
Excited to have you. And to our listeners, thank you for joining in, for listening in. If you like this episode, please rate our podcast on wherever you're listening. Also, remember to like and share and follow and just spread the good word of safe sanitation. And let's save lives. Yeah. Saving lives through sanitation. It's what we're about. We'll see you next week.
Thank you for listening to the ZuLoo Podcast. Follow us on social media at our links in the show notes below. To learn more, visit our website, ZuLoo.org. If you liked the podcast, be sure to subscribe, like, and comment. For even more ZuLoo fun, send us an email with your toilet stories to podcast@ZuLoo.com for a chance to be featured on the podcast. This episode of the ZuLoo Podcast is sponsored by ZuLoo Inc., a benefit corporation dedicated to the goal of universal access to toilets, hygiene, clean water and sanitation through the power of social enterprise. Learn more at ZuLoo.com.